Hello, everyone, and welcome to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about baseball, dreams, and family. I'm John Gonzalez, the dad, and if you're new to the show or you're a regular listener, you know it's a dad and his three sons talking about the game they love. Well, today we don't have three, we don't have two, we have one. So I guess, Zane, you're the number one son as of today's show. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, this is kind of a rare occurrence. I feel like I'm usually the one out. I'm usually the one not here and not around, but I guess the tides have turned and I'm the only one here today.
Well, it is kind of getting ready for back to school. Probably getting ready for back to school for you too. We'll talk about that at some point during the show. But yeah, if you're a first-time listener, a dad and his three sons, rare occurrence, like Zane said, to have just one of the three joining us on the show. Son number one is based in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's our Mariners fan. He loves talking Mariners. He's probably gonna be pretty happy right now because they're doing pretty well, although they've lost a couple games recently. And son number two is our Mets fan who can't be happy. He's based in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he can't be happy. That Mets team is looking terrible right now, Zane.
Yeah, they're struggling a little bit, but it should be a good little matchup for them. They could turn things around really quickly with the series they have coming up with the Mariners.
Yeah, in fact, we'll talk about the Mariners and we'll talk about the Mets here. On today's podcast, the show is about the 2025 Little League World Series and, of course, the Major League Baseball Little League Classic coming up on August. Oh gosh, what day is that? I want to say the 17th, Sunday night,
Saturday or Sunday.
Sunday night, yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that game as well. Your Red Sox. So before we get to Little League, let's talk about your Red Sox. How are they doing these days?
They just finished up kind of a West Coast road trip. They didn't do great. I think they went like 2-4. Won one game against the Padres, one game against the Astros, but there were some close games that they could have won. Crochet finally had a bad start. It was bound to happen, but I think they'll be okay. They're back home this weekend, so they'll be fine. Thankfully, nobody around them's really been doing really well. Like the Yankees haven't really done anything crazy. The Guardians are playing really, really well, so they're kind of back in the hunt for the wild card. They're staying there. I think they're a half game out of the wild card spot behind the Yankees. So, but they've kind of just kept pace at this point. So there's not really much of a separator.
Yeah, Toronto hasn't really pulled away after a while there. It looked like they were going to, and then they've kind of cooled off as well. And the Guardians scare me, but the Tigers seem to be holding on right now in the American League Central. Are my Tigers, of course, and the bullpen's been decent. Skubal had a rare, terrible start. I don't think he had a strikeout in his last outing until like the fourth or fifth inning.
Yeah, I mean it's that time of year. Like it's what they call the dog days. The guys you're bound to, for those starting pitchers that have just been so good all year. Like they're bound to like show that they're human. They're like bound to have a bad outing. Like that's what it was for Crochet, and I'm sure that's what it was for Skubal too. And those two, I think, are going to be neck and neck for the Cy Young at the end of the year.
Yeah, we don't think of them as human, obviously. I mean, they're just so good to play at the major league level. I mean, it's just incredible what these guys can do, these athletes, right? But we're rooting our teams on as the season comes to an end. And it's also coming an end for our Little League teams this year. I should tell folks before we go much further, Zane is based in South Bend, Indiana. He's one of the three that continues full-time in baseball. He is the associate head coach at Indiana University South Bend, an NAIA school. He does recruiting. He does a little pitching as well. That's your forte as pitching coach, but you also do some field maintenance every while too. So you do a little bit of everything there at the NAIA level, right, Zane?
A little bit of field maintenance is generous.
Every time I talk to you, it seems like you're at the field doing something. But anyway, you're still in baseball full time. But today's topic, Little League World Series, and their season is coming to a close. I mean, if you're still playing Little League baseball in the middle of August while your friends are getting ready, to go back to school and buying backpacks and pencils, you are in the thick of the Little League World Series. We've talked about the World Series over the years on this podcast. Zane, you probably have the least Little League experience of all the boys, but still, it's a fun time of year.
Yeah, I didn't play Little League past machine pitch, I think. I think that was the last year I played. It was on a really tiny field. But yeah, no, I mean, it's that time of year. It's crazy that I feel like schools for elementary and high school are starting earlier and earlier. Like around here, I was driving my daughter to daycare, and I just see all these groups of like young kids at like along the road, and I'm like, what is going on? School's back. Like school's already in session down here. It's just crazy. So like all these kids are playing. I'm sure their school's back home. I always thought it was weird when you'd watch the Little League World Series and they'd be like interviewing the parents in the stands, and they're like, "Yeah, he's missed his first day of school." And I'm like, "There's how are they starting school already?" Because in Michigan, you didn't start till after Labor Day.
Yeah, and now that has changed. So I'm based in Saginaw these days, going back and forth between Saginaw and Grand Rapids, and I saw some high schools playing soccer, competitive
Mm-hmm.
games
Yeah.
already. And I'm like, wow, the school sports season has begun here in Michigan.
Yep. It's already started down here in Indiana, and high school football is about to start.
And
Like I think any week.
and when is your team getting together? When's your first practice?
Our guys report August 20th is like our first physical date, which is the middle of the week, and then we start classes August 25th. So we'll start practice up that first day of school.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, pretty much run all the way up to Thanksgiving, essentially.
Well, let's get into it right now. Let's talk about the teams that are competing this year in Little League World Series. Got a lot of baseball to play. In fact, we're recording the show on Friday, August 15th. The games kicked off officially in Williamsport on Wednesday, August 13th. So a few games have been played already, both on the American side and the United States Championship side and the international teams. But it'll continue, like Zane said, for a while. We got the big Little League Classic game on Sunday with the Mariners and Mets. That game's at 7 p.m., by the way, on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. 10 teams from the U.S., 10 teams from around the globe. It's a double elimination tournament. It'll continue all the way to the finals of the U.S. Championship and the International Championship taking place on Saturday, August 23rd. All these preliminary games will be on ESPN, but on the 23rd, those games will be televised on ABC. The international final is scheduled to start at 12:30. U.S. title game following at 3:30 p.m. The next day, on the 24th, will be the consolation game. So the losers of both brackets will play at 10 o'clock. And then the championship game, oh, by the way, that game is on ESPN too. The championship game is at 3 o'clock on August 24th on ABC. The Little League Home Run Derby. I can't.
Is that new?
No, they've had it for a few years now. That's at 7 p.m. August 22nd. That'll be on ESPN as well. In fact, remember, Zane, you probably forgot when we interviewed the team from Taylor, that team from Michigan that won the Little League World Series 4 years ago. I remember one of their guys competing in the Home Run Derby that year.
Yeah, I guess it's this. The Little League World Series is always around. It's always on in like the craziest time of year for me. like it's guys are ramping up to come back. Guys are coming back a little bit early, and we're getting our stuff squared away to start up fall ball, and it's just crazy time of year. So I haven't really paid attention to the Little League World Series that much the last few years, but I mean that's awesome that they do that. Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of fun.
It's always a lot of fun, and I don't know if you saw it too. I mean, have you been watching any of the games? Like I said, they just started this week.
Yeah, I tuned in yesterday to the Mexico game against Chinese Taipei, and that was crazy. That kid was throwing so hard for Chinese Taipei.
He was throwing, I think he threw back-to-back pitches at 82 miles an hour, which they calculated to 107 miles an hour.
Yeah, it simulated a 107 on a big league mound, and that's just because I saw that. Like I turned it on, he touched like 78, and it said like simulated 104 or like 103, and I was like, how can any of these kids hit that? And it made me think of like, at what point do they seriously entertain like moving that mound back a little bit? Kind of like when we were playing travel ball, like when you're 12, you're playing from a 50-foot mound. You're not playing from 46 feet anymore. It slowly builds you up as you get older rather than making that jump from 46 feet to 60 feet in a year span, which I know they do have some middle ground in Little League now. It's not just that drastic jump right away. But, I mean, you got kids at 12 years old throwing that hard, like nobody stands a chance.
Nobody stands a chance. I think the Little League also made some rule changes that, you remember in the past, you could be 13 if you missed the cut or make the cutoff. And it usually was teams, always 13-year-olds were playing because they had already passed the cutoff, or they made the cutoff, but they were already turning 13. So you even got...
Yeah, if your birthday was after a certain date, you could play.
Yeah. So, but now they've changed that. You have to be ages 10 to 12 to play the Little League World Series. So that's helped, but has helped a little bit. But still, you're right. I mean, as the kids seem to be getting bigger and stronger earlier and earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if Little League went and looked at that and made some changes down the road. All right, so today there's a full slew of games, 1, 3, 5, and 7. And then on Saturday, when this podcast drops, there'll be 4 more games, 1, 3, 5, and 7. Australia takes on Europe, Africa, Southwest versus New England, Puerto Rico versus the loser of Game 7, which would be Mexico. And then the Great Lakes will play the loser of Game 8, which would be the Mid-Atlantic. So they're already started getting into some elimination games on Saturday. And then Sunday, you're going to have 4 more games, 9, 11, 1, and 2, and then the Little League Classic at 7 p.m. Let's run down where the teams are from this year. Great Lakes is from Illinois, Clarendon Hills. Metro is Connecticut, Fairfield, Connecticut. Mid-Atlantic, Upper Uchlan Township in Pennsylvania. Midwest, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Mountain region is Las Vegas, Nevada. New England, Braintree, Massachusetts. And Northwest from Bonnie Lake in Washington. Southeast, Irmo, South Carolina. Southwest, Richmond, Texas. And west is Honolulu. Hawaii's always got a good team, right, Zane?
Yep, you always got to get a Hawaii team in there.
Got to see the Hawaiians play. International, Zane mentioned Asia Pacific is represented by Chinese Taipei. Australia is Brisbane, Queensland. Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia. Caribbean, Santa Cruz, Aruba. Europe, Africa is from Brno, Czechia. Japan, Tokyo. Latin America is from Venezuela, and Mexico from Chihuahua, Mexico. Panama is from Arain, Panama, and Puerto Rico from Yabacua, Puerto Rico. So also this just in, Little League World Series headquarters has denounced sports betting. Did you realize that there's people are actually betting on the Little League World Series, Zane?
I saw them put out a statement about it, and I was like, I was not aware that there was lines out there, but the fact that there was is insane.
Well, there are no U.S. betting, what do you call them, betting houses that
platforms.
Yeah, they have Little League on the table, but you can go to these offshore ones, other online betting where the odds are there, and they've been doing it for years. And I was reading one site where like it outpaces any professional sports during the Little League World Series.
Well, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy that people are gonna. But I mean, when you think about it, you're betting on kids, you're betting on baseball, you're betting on sports, you're betting on something that comes around once a year. But that's just crazy that people are out there doing that and going through all the work of betting offshore and betting on probably a platform over in China where you're probably not even going to get your money if you try and cash out.
No, I wouldn't even do it, folks. Watch the games, enjoy it for what it is. There are a lot of pitching rules. Did you realize that, Zane, on the number of pitches for these guys? So if you're 10 years old, you're capped at 75 pitches a day. 11 and 12-year-olds, they're allowed 85 pitches a day. And then they have their mandatory days of rest depending on how many pitches they throw. And this kind of comes into play, right? When you're getting through these games and you want, it's double elimination. You got to win the game that you're playing. Do you let that starter go an extra inning? Do you bring someone? It's a lot of gameplay for coaches.
Yeah, I mean, the pitch counts have been around for a little while. Mainly just, it was kind of blanket. I feel like that's probably the first time I've heard where they've broken it down more by age. But yeah, it changes how you manage everything. Like I saw a story about the Nevada team still stealing when they were up 13-0 and people were really upset about it. I didn't look all the way into it, but that could be a serious factor. Like, they changed rules for us at the NAI level in postseason play. It used to be like you couldn't mercy at all. There was no mercy rule in postseason play. And then they changed it this past year to where you can mercy in postseason play all the way up to the championship game. And that was a big factor. Like coaches got into it in our conference tournament because it was a 9-run game and the other team's stealing, and then they're trying to push as many runs across because they wanted to end the game early to save their pitching to make the run in the long haul. And I didn't look that much into the Nevada situation, and that could have been the issue. Like it was 13-0, maybe they're pushing for 2 more runs, to make it 15-0 and end the game right there that inning and not have to use a pitcher for more pitches. There's a lot more of a factor that goes into it, and it's a lot of managing. Like, I remember when I was coaching in the Northwoods League, like, we had pitch count rules there, collegiate summer ball. If a kid threw 35 pitches in an inning, he was done. He's done for the day. You have to take him out. You got to manage your pitchers and days rest and how you got to map them out. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, and if you're going to make a run in a double elimination tournament, like, especially if you lose game one, like, it changes everything.
Yeah, because you have to go back and win two, and if the team's undefeated, that's no fun. As you know, trying to come through a loser's bracket, it's just like, let's just win the first few games and be in the driver's seat, right? So there are also some rules on extra inning games in these games. So typically, Little League plays 6 innings, which I know you and I are like, oh, okay, you barely get started, right? In 6 innings.
Yeah. Well, especially now because they changed it to where you can bat everyone.
Yeah, you can bet your whole lineup.
So I mean, you could the kid 12th in the lineup. If you're playing 6 innings, that kid might not even come up a second time.
One at bat gets hit by the pitch, doesn't even get a swing his bat. But no, so it's 6 innings. If the game is tied, they'll play 1 extra, so it'll take you into a 7th inning. If the game's still tied, then they'll put the runner, the last out, on second base and go that way. I think you still have to get 3 outs. So it's not like a runner at second with 2 or with 1 out, or the count changes or whatever, but they do in the 8th inning put a runner at second base. So that'll change the game. So those are just some of the rules you can look for this year's Little League World Series. Zane, I was going to ask you on this game, this Major League Classic, MLB Little League Classic game taking place on Sunday night. I think the capacity of that stadium at Bowen Field in Williamsport has a capacity like a little over 2,000.
Yeah, I was looking up the stadium. It's like just under 2,500 capacity.
It's tiny, but I know you as a big baseball fan like me, and we've watched these games over the years, these Little League games. I think at Big League Dreaming, we like the Major League game because you get to see the photos of the Major League players when they were little. They get to talk about what it's like to be there. Some of them have played there. Some of them have always wanted to be there. They're just as excited as the kids.
Yeah, I always think I really like watching the Little League games that are going on during the day, because like, they'll show the MLB teams getting off the plane, and they'll show them, getting on a bus taking it over to Williamsport where the kids are playing, and the MLB players are so excited to be there, and all the kids are swarming them. I think that's really cool about the whole setup that they have, and they've been doing it since 2017. But it's just really cool to see the players go and interact with the fans, with the kids. And then same thing, even as the game's going on Sunday Night Baseball, right? You'll see starting pitchers that aren't pitching that day. They'll go in the stands, hang out. They'll go on TV and do an interview. Like, it's just a way looser environment. So it should be really interesting because it's Mets versus Mariners, two teams that are making legitimate playoff pushes. Like, you want that to be super serious and like, this is a big game, but like, it's going to loosen up the environment. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And what I would expect that these, it's going to be fun in games, but it's real baseball for them. The Mets are the home team, and they're in a situation, depending on how things go Friday and Saturday, it's going to be a must win for them. The Mariners must win because they're in the hunt. They're trying to catch the Astros. They actually tied them earlier in the week, and for the American League West. And the Mets are hanging on. They're struggling a little bit, but they're still in the wild card hunts. The game means something, like you said. And they're going to loosen up, but the game's still going to mean something.
Yeah, it's going to be a very intense game, and it's a really good pitching matchup too. I think Kirby's pitching for the Mariners. I forget who's pitching for the Mets. It might have been Holmes or something. But they have like identical numbers, so it's gonna be a really good matchup on the mound. Because the Tigers played in it last year, right? And it went to extras.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and that's the fun part of it, right? The fun part is just like watching this game, and it's also, it must be for the players to have these kids in the stands watching them and cheering for every player, every inning, every at bat, right? They're not just doing it at key moments. I mean, this is what they want to do. Can you imagine being in the stands and you're participating in Little League World Series and you're from like Japan?
Yeah, it'd be awesome to just be a young kid and you're just right there. And the fact that it's such a small stadium, small environment, like, I think a college summer league, like one of the MLB draft league teams plays there. So it's going to be really cool, like how close these kids can get to the players and like be up close and personal. Like if they do ever have a chance to go to an MLB game, I'm sure none of them are sitting that close or that good of seats or that kind of access to the players. You know, because those players will go into their little, what do you call them, dorms and their community building, and they'll hang out with them, play ping pong, play pool, whatever. So just the kind of access is just once in a lifetime experience for all those kids.
That game again is 7 p.m. Sunday night, August 17th on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball. Seattle Mariners, New York Mets taking place in the annual Major League Baseball Little League Classic game in Williamsport. We'll look forward to that. Zane, just looked it up here. Bowman Field seating capacity is 2,366. Like you said.
Yeah, I mean that's a decent college summer league setup.
I'm going to throw something at you. Did you see, I think it was last night on Thursday night that Monet Davis threw out the first pitch at Nationals Park?
Yeah, yep, I saw that in I forgot who caught it, but it was someone who also played in the Little League World Series while she was there.
Yeah, it was an outfielder by the name of Robert Hassel III, rookie, just got called up not too long ago. And they actually faced each other in the Little League World Series where she struck him out. So it was kind of a full circle moment for this. I guess she was in town or she was in the area for tryouts for this women's pro baseball league. Do you know much about that? I haven't heard anything about it.
I've seen some stuff about it. I haven't looked that much into it, but I know they're starting to kick the tires a little bit on women's professional baseball, and like I'm pretty sure there's a Team USA women's team for baseball. So I know they're starting to kick the tires a little bit on something like that.
Yeah, I'd love to,
because I'm pretty sure that there's a national. I mean, it's not like I don't think it's going to be in the Olympics, but like they have their own international tournament of women's baseball.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see that, and I'd love to support that. I'll have to do some more research, but it was a 2014 Little League World Series. Do you feel old now?
Yeah, a long time ago. Just
11
going into my freshman year of college.
Yeah, 11 years ago. Monet Davis played softball at Hampton University and graduated from Columbia University with a master's degree in sports management. So, really cool story to see her do that. And she talks about how she remembers her. I was reading a story about it, how she remembers meeting with her coach, and talking over the scouting of like who are some of the best players for the opposing team. And she remembers the scouting report of Robert Hassel III. So it's kind of interesting, kind of fun little full circle moment there for her. All right. So what are you looking forward to the most, Zane, over the next few days before we get to the championship game, August 20th?
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how long of a stretch it is. You know, it's a long stretch of games, but it's just always fun to watch just the kids. Like whenever we talk, I feel like we talk about college a lot on this podcast. We talk about how great of an atmosphere college baseball is, but like Little League, like that's next level. Like that's just kids truly playing for the fun because they love to play baseball. Like I think I was watching the Pennsylvania team, the start of that game yesterday, and the right fielder, just a little lefty out there, caught the first two outs, and he's out there, you know, throwing up an X like no fly zone after he catches two fly balls to start the game. Like it's just stuff like that, like kids just having fun with their buddies. That's just what's awesome about Little League, right? It's just kids in your kind of surrounding area. You know, we talked about it in a previous podcast of like that's kind of what changed a lot with youth baseball is, you know, a lot of these kids are playing travel ball now, and they're not playing with kids from their area. They're playing kids from all over their greater area to make a travel team and travel throughout the summer. But what's great about Little League is these kids are, you know, once they're done playing, they're all probably going to end up going to the same 2-3 elementary schools or middle schools, you know, when they're done with this, and they're going to be, you know, the big kids on campus, and everyone's going to be like, oh man, how was it? We were watching you. And like, pretty soon it'll be cool because I like when they do like they pan off and they show a split screen of like a watch party at like some gymnasium at a school, and all these people are there watching the game on a projector. But no, it's just a lot of fun to watch the kids and just like the legitimate fun and why you actually get into the game of baseball.
Yeah, well, my only experience with that is when I was 13. I think I've mentioned this before. It's been a while since I've talked about it, but when I was 13 years old, I'm originally from a small town called Capac in Michigan, southern part of the thumb, and we partnered with nearby Armada and nearby Washington, and we took the best players from those three towns, and we put together kind of an all-star team and played in the Babe Ruth tournament. So it wasn't Little League. Babe Ruth is another affiliation of youth baseball. But Babe Ruth had a 13-year-old only championship, and we breezed through like the local tournament, breezed through the regional tournament, and got to the state tournament and breezed through that too. And then we were down in Indiana somewhere playing, like a few games to win the region to then head to the World Series. We thought we had it easily, right? We thought we were really good. We got down there and we won our first game. I think we beat Kentucky by a lot. And then we lost the next two and we were done. But it was just fun. I mean, we were all kind of friends and all classmates. We get back to school that fall, and we all had our hats and our jerseys and our jackets and stuff like that. And you felt like, wow, this was a community thing, right? We all even had baseball cards. And that's kind of when baseball was kind of at its heyday, right? In the late 70s. And today's not the same. But these kids, like you said, they get to come out there and they get to be major leaguers. At least when they're one time in their life, most of them are going to make the major leagues, but they're going to get that experience. And through television, social media, you watch them and they're just trying to be big leaguers for the day, right? And you love that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome to just see them, and I always like seeing when teams go and watch other games that are going on, and they show them in the crowd, and they're looking like they're rock stars or something, and they just it's awesome.
Well, folks, if you enjoy Big League Dream, the podcast, we hope that you do. Coming up, we will have Zane. I don't think you know this, but I reached out to the Taylor coach from Taylor, Michigan, when they won the Little League World Series back in what year was that? 4 years ago. 2021, yes. When they won 4 years ago, 2021. And I reached out to him, see if he wanted to come by today, and he had a meeting to go to. But he says he'll come back next week or the following week to talk about what it's like, right? What it's like to be in the dorms, in the barracks, and go to those games. And, it's a different experience for coaches than it is for the players.
Mm-hmm.
And, what are some of the things he remembers the most and so forth, and where his team's at. Listen up, folks. Going to upcoming episode of Big League Dreamer, we're going to have Rick Thorning on the show, coming back to us, because when we followed their journey, remember that we had them on almost every day. It felt like.
Yeah, it was basically after every game. It seemed like.
Yeah, it was great to get that insight. And you can go back and listen to those podcasts, folks. Just search for Big League Dreamer the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You'll find those episodes with the Taylor North Little League, and I think they made some changes this year. I'm not sure exactly your last couple of years how they're dividing things up, but Rick can let us know when we talk to him in an upcoming podcast. All right, Zane, anything else you want to add on today's show?
No, I mean, I think it's Little League World Series is always a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to tune in and see these kids, and the Little League Classic will be awesome to watch. I always like when the MLB does these kind of small, intimate settings for their games, like when they did the Field of Dreams game. I'm sure the players pretty like it a little bit too, because it's not massive. It's not like it takes them back a little bit, right, to when they're either playing in college summer ball, or minor league baseball a little bit. Like, I'm sure when you get to the big leagues, you kind of miss that setting a little bit, where it doesn't feel as high pressure. Like, it takes something off. So I always like these intimate settings that MLB tries to do. I mean, I haven't checked the weather, but hopefully the weather holds out for it. And we don't have an issue like they had with the Speedway Classic a few weeks back.
Well, we're supposed, after like so many hot days here in Michigan, and I know in Indiana as well, we've just been hit by this sweltering heat. It's going to cool down next few days, so that's going to be a nice relief for us here in the Midwest. All right, folks, that's it for this week's episode of Big League Dreaming, the podcast. We drop new episodes every Saturday morning. Make sure to keep coming back to Big League Dreaming, the podcast. You can find the show wherever you get your podcast. Also, we're on social media, right, Zane?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can follow us on BLD Pod. That's BLDPOD. I believe we're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, I think. I don't know. We're on all the platforms. Just look it up.
There you go.
Whatever one you like, whatever one you prefer, just look up BLDPOD.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you next week.